All right, ladies and gentlemen, in order to be successful for today's instruction, you need a whiteboard and a notebook, please and thank you. On the friendly reminder, on Monday, we're doing Joey's absolute favorite thing, which is a primary source. He loves it. It is 2 primaries. Isn't that fun? Yeah. It's really fun. 2 primaries. 11 through 20 on Monday. Tuesday, 21 through 30, a lecture, and your map is due on Tuesday. And Wednesday, you have a test, 27 minutes, and your focus and your pieces are due. Questions, concern, comments? Then we go into writing week. Guess what? You're going into a 3-day weekend with a DBQ at home.
Oh, yeah. Yay. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's great.
Well, yeah, by that point, I'll only have 1 day to teach you something. So you're probably going to do 2 sets of annotations on notes so we can get through later. So that's exciting. So not ideal, but here we are. So I just wanted to remind you it's coming. All right, here we go. All right, on the top of your notes, of course, you have week 22. I would write imperialism next to it because that's what we're covering. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the map we did yesterday. Did it look like this?
No.
Oh my God. All right, here we go. So, imperialism is where we're starting. You need to have this down. Imperialism is when a foreign country takes over another country socially, politically, and economically. Imperialism is when a foreign country takes over another country socially, politically, and economically. AKA, they take over everything. You need to have that down. They take over everything. Okay, underneath that, you're going to write spheres of influence. We've already talked about this term before, but we need to make sure we understand the difference between imperialism and spheres of influence. Spheres of influence is when a foreign country takes over another country economically. Okay, so spheres of influence is when a foreign country takes over another country economically. So what is the difference between imperialism and spheres of influence? Sam?
Spheres of influence only controls by economics.
There you go. And what is imperialism?
As the economy, policies, and legislation.
There you go. They control the government. They come in and take over. It's like if China came in today and took over the United States. We no longer have Donald Trump as our president. Okay, China is now calling the shots. They're going to replace our currency with the yen, which is their currency. The whole thing is completely done. Okay. If China came in today to the United States and took over, even though they have a lot going on with the coronavirus, 10,000 people are now infected.
Really?
Yeah. 10,000 people are now infected. It's a World Health warning. So, here we go. Anyway, you're going to be fine. It's not killing healthy young people. It's killing babies and old people.
So what about?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. It's just such a relief. My husband and I are thinking, what the hell are we doing bringing a child into 2020? Have you not seen what happened so far in 2020? The world's literally on fire. There's a disease trying to kill people, and we're bringing a child into the world. Sounds like a great plan. Thank you, Joey, for pointing that out. Okay. Imperialism.
He named him too.
I know. I like Ben Bennett, actually. And,
I like it. Make this cool.
Shut up.
I like it.
Hello! We're getting on track. Okay, so imperialism, there's a big difference. One is when it takes over. So next to imperialism, I would write Africa. So Africa is the perfect example of imperialism. Every single country we drew on the map and colored in yesterday is imperialized. Who is the perfect example of spheres of influence? Okay, China. So next to spheres of influence, I would write China. Okay? Now, here we go. So, the beginning of imperialism is what your next heading is. Okay? The beginning of imperialism is your next heading. Okay. It is going to start in the 1880s. It begins in the 1880s. So post-industrialization. Okay, post-industrialization. Because countries need two things. Write this down. Let's go. Because countries need two things. The first thing countries need is natural resources. Yeah. They need natural resources. So, if they have massive amounts of factories that produce textiles, what do they need? Natural resources. People are not natural resources. Hi, if I'm textiles, what fabric do we make? What natural material? Cotton. Guess where the second largest producer of cotton is? Is anyone? Who's number one? U.S. is number one. We have the American South going on this time. Yes? Okay, largest producer. Does anyone know who's number two? What do you got? You can't just say Africa. It's a continent, man. No, it's not. India's three. Egypt is number two. So why do you think England wants Egypt? The cotton. Yeah, have you ever not seen an Egyptian cotton? How fancy it is? It's made out of Egyptian cotton. It's fancy. It's good stuff. Anyway. Thank you, Joey. Okay, so first thing is they need natural resources like cotton, like cotton, cotton and shit. There's one that's not steel is not iron. Huh? I just want, let's just stick with cotton. I'm fine with cotton. It's not what it is. That was not. No, Joey. You're done. Your words are done. And number two, they need markets. So there's two reasons why imperialism is happening. They need they need raw materials like cotton. And the second is they need markets. They need people, write this down, they need people to buy these manufactured goods. Okay, so not only do they take over these countries in order to steal the natural resources out of it, like the gold, the diamonds, of course, from Africa, because Africa doesn't have a ton of like farming and stuff like that, except in Egypt, of course, which we've talked about 10,000 times. But Africa throughout has tons of golds and diamonds and emeralds, rubies, pretty much all come from Africa, by the way. So they have those types of natural resources, but more importantly, they need to sell all these goods. Think about it. England has more factories in it than anyone else for the first like 60 years, and then of course the United States is going to replace it because we have more room. How many shirts can English people buy? How many toasters do English people need? Not that many. So they have all of these products and they have to get them to be sold, because just because you made them and they're sitting in a warehouse, is that how you make money? No, so they have to sell them. So the markets are a huge deal. They need people to buy these items, and that is a big deal. So the first attempt at imperialism is called military imperialism. The first type of imperialism is called military imperialism. This is when countries take over other countries in order to gain ports for their military. Okay, so imperialism is going to start with countries taking over parts of other countries in order to have military ports. Just keep in mind, unlike today, we can have a fighter jet over any part of the world within 45 minutes. That's insane. Any part in the world. Why? Because we have bases all around the country. We still do military imperialism. Do you think Turkey today is really thrilled we have one of our largest bases in their country? Not really. Do you think Israel's happy we're there? That's for sure. But do you think other countries are thrilled that we have our massive forward bases? Do you think Cuba likes having Guantanamo Bay? No, they do not. That is for sure. That's military imperialism. Okay, so when we're talking about imperialism, it's going to start with military imperialism. So the motivations, we've already kind of covered it. We know there's social, political, economic, religious, and all that stuff. So the U.S. imperialism is where we're going to focus now. Okay. U.S. imperialism is based on manifest destiny. U.S. imperialism is based on manifest destiny. That we had the right to take the land. Okay, we have the right to take the land. And the right to do what is ever necessary to make money. We have the right to take the land, and we have the right to do whatever we need to make money. So, by making money and we pay our wages, very low wages, that's okay because we at least gave them a job. Yeah, but you can pay them more. Yeah, but I gave them a job. Right? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Isn't that the American way? Yeah, that's manifest destiny. Okay? Our imperialism is based on geopolitical considerations. So, the United States is very explicit. Are we an imperialist nation? Hello? Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. United States is going to take over countries for our own benefit. Okay? Guam? Do you think Guam is like, yes? Puerto Rico? Okay, we didn't take over Puerto Rico to make Puerto Rico better. Have we made Puerto Rico better? Have you driven on those roads? Look at it today. Would you say Puerto Rico is thriving? They just had another earthquake. Power is lost on half the island. People are died in buildings because they collapsed and they still weren't fixed from the hurricane. So like, Puerto Rico is not like, yeah, it's America. Okay? And then of course we have the Philippines. So with that being said, geopolitical means we are taking over strategic places that give us a benefit. We are taking over strategic places that give us the benefit. For instance, the perfect example are the Philippines. We take over the Philippines to keep an eye on what region of the world? Asia, people. Because the Philippines are in. Look at you. We connected the dots. Look at us. Okay? So, why do we take over Hawaii? We stole Hawaii from Hawaiians. You know that, right? Like a guy named Dole, the guy who owns all the pineapples. No, like seriously, he's the guy who owned all the pineapples. He staged a coup. We overthrew their government and said, "Mine." And that's why we have Hawaii. That's why if you go to Hawaii and you go off like the touristy places, like get away from the beaches and like head up into the hills, like they don't like white people and they're not going to be kind to you. Because why? We stole their country. We literally stole their country. And their culture. We sell it on t-shirts. Like luau's and stuff. Like how many of you have been to a luau? I've been to one. I'll never do it again. Yeah. If you go to Hawaii, what do you have to do? Guys, those are like their sacred, like most religious ceremonies. It's like going to Easter Mass if you're a Catholic. That's like the most religious Mass of the year, yes? And having people be like, like a bunch of like strangers just staring at you being like, yes, give me more of the purple potatoes. Whatever. Look at you, Joe, back there. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Justification. So, right now we've already have justification. So, the beginning of imperialism. We have the justification for it by manifest destiny. Another justification is what we call the white man's burden. So, if you think we're about to get super racist here. Oh! we are. And if you don't think race is a huge motivator behind imperialism, you're delusional. Here we go. So, White Man's Burden is a book. It is written by Rudyard Kipling. You absolutely need to know his name. Rudyard Kipling wrote a book. He wrote another famous book. He wrote the Jungle Book, which is also filled with super racist beliefs. So any of you who have read the Jungle Book, congratulations. He's trying to brainwash you into racism. Yeah. Oh yeah. And the new one. There's a lot of racist components to it. A little white boy gets lost in the jungle. In the Disney movie, they modified it, but guess what it originally was? He was his big nemesis. The Black Panther. Isn't it a panther or something?
Somehow that's what
You go back and you read his book. Now, Disney is going to modify it a little bit. Keep in mind, Disney has a rich history of being super racist, too. Like, you know Walt Disney was super racist, right? He's super racist. If you go back and watch the old ones, like, holy shit, how racist was this dude? If you read the original Jungle Book, it was just slap you in the face with racism. And that's Rudyard Kipling. So the White Man's Burden, okay? White Man's Burden says, it is the white man's responsibility to educate, provide for, and rule all others. Yeah. It is the belief that white people have to do this. Why? Because they have been cursed with the knowledge of the Enlightenment. No, you need to acknowledge that. You need to write that down. They believe they have been cursed, and they have now have the responsibility to protect and to provide for everyone non-white. You need to know that. What gives them this privilege? They really think because they industrialized, God chose them. That's what you need to have down as well. This is a huge idea. Because they have industrialized and the rest of the world has not, God chose them. Now, if you could be like, well, Bennett, Japan industrialized. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Does that take any consideration in? No. White Man's Burden is the belief because they industrialized, God has clearly chosen white people to thrive and everyone else to not. So that's telling them that God says, do you, white people, do you. White Man's Burden. It's life. All right, here we go. So, you do need to know that Cecil Rhodes is another major thinker in the imperialism. Okay? He says that if we do not conquer other territories, Cecil Rhodes believes that if we do not conquer other territories, industrialized countries will only fight each other and self-destruct. Which kind of makes sense. Can we agree? There's only so much room in Europe, and everyone's getting competitive for these natural resources because everyone now knows that these natural resources allow you to imperialize. So if we do not go and address, like, spread out other places, then we're just going to fight. Now, we can agree there's some logic there, yes? Do you think that justifies the entitlement to taking over foreign countries? Absolutely not. But we can see where the logic is coming from. Alright, so, technology is your next heading. So, imperialism is happening. Okay? It started with the military, and then people are like, oh, but hell yeah, we can do this economically. However, imperialism can only be done if we have the technology. So, the major technology is steamships and railroads. Okay, remember, we are moving raw materials and manufactured goods to and from. Is that heavy stuff or light stuff? Heavy stuff. So because it's heavy stuff, we have to make sure that we are able to do it quickly. Okay, so we need railroads and steamships. Okay, the infrastructure is the biggest, most important thing. So, new infrastructure projects, we have the Suez Canal. I would like you to write down the dates for the Suez Canal so you have a frame of reference. I do not need you to memorize it, but I just want you to have a frame of reference. Okay, so the Suez Canal. What two bodies of water does the Suez Canal connect? Evelyn?
Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea.
Red Sea and Mediterranean, you need to have that next to it, ladies and gentlemen. It connects the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. It is going to increase the movement of goods from Europe to Asia. Okay, so Suez Canal connects the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, and it increases worldwide trade by like 100%. Okay, so instead of getting to Asia by going around the Horn of Africa, you can just cut through the Mediterranean Sea. Guess what is the busiest place on the earth for sailing? Not the Mediterranean Sea, the Suez Canal. Okay, it is the busiest ocean space or sea space in the world. It is packed all the time with oil tankers and products coming to and from Asia to Europe. Yes. Yeah, it's still open today. Yeah, those are the years of construction. Now, you also need to know this. It is started by the French. The construction of the Suez Canal is started by the French. However, they run out of money. The French run out of money, and the English will finish it and control it. So, ladies and gentlemen, who controls worldwide trade? Britain does, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what now is the most important piece of real estate in the whole wide world? Suez Canal. Because if you control the Suez Canal, you control worldwide trade. And guess what? Every ship that goes through the Suez Canal is paying a tax. You bet your bottom dollar. So who is raking in cash right now? Britain is now. Now today it's controlled by Egypt. That's a whole other thing. Okay. So Suez Canal connects Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea. It's going to increase worldwide trade. You need to know it started by the French, finished by the English. Panama Canal. Okay? I want you to know it's Roosevelt who starts it. Teddy Roosevelt. Not FDR. Not FDR. There's two different Roosevelts. We know that, right? Okay, so Teddy Roosevelt is the guy who starts the Panama Canal for the U.S. The U.S. built it. That's why we need to know it's Teddy Roosevelt. The U.S. built it. Why do we pick Panama to build it? Come on, you can tell me logically why Panama. If you've ever seen a map, you should know why it's in Panama. We have no idea why we decided to build this in Panama. It's the smallest piece of land between the Atlantic and the Pacific. You should probably write that down. Okay? It's the smallest piece of land. It's only like 4 miles long. The Suez Canal is like 15 miles long. Okay. So, what do you got?
It's between what?
Atlantic and Pacific.
Thank you.
Anyone been through the Panama Canal? Jared? Are you disappointed in your parents? They didn't love you enough to take you to the Panama Canal? Maybe. Panama Canal, you can take cruises and stuff through it. It's cool. It has a lock system, which means the Pacific Ocean is like 15 feet higher than the Atlantic Ocean. Did you know that? Yeah, it's higher. Don't ask me why. Google it. I have no idea. But it's higher. So when you can't just have an open like body of water between it because like it's going to be rushing all the time. You can only have boats coming in from one direction. And someone's like, oh, it'll empty the Pacific. It's not going to empty the Pacific. The Pacific is the largest ocean in the world. It'll be fine. So they have a lock system, which means you go in to like I think it's like every quarter mile. You go into it and then they flood it and then they raise you and then you go into the next lock and then they flood it and they raise you. And it's a cool like thing. Go on cruises through and stuff like that. It is really cool. It's most fun to see. Okay, for its other piece of technology, you need to know they are going to have the Maxim gun. Okay, they're going to have the Maxim gun, which shoots 11 rounds per second. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, you've all seen some movie about the American Civil War. Can we agree? Hello? Okay, it's not as bad as the American Revolution where they all stand in lines and shoot, and then the others British shoot, and then we shoot, and then we run. The American Civil War, during that, what happens is that you shoot, and then you still have to hand fill your rifle quickly, and then you can shoot. So the pacing has quickened. Now, all you need to do, it's like a machine gun, except you just hand crank. That's it. So, who is now capable of mass casualties? White people. Yeah, the Maxim gun is going to give you max casualties. Okay, and before I could just shoot you one bullet at a time. Now I can shoot thousands of rounds quickly, minutes, which is a whole new technology. Guess what's going to be used against all the Africans? Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So, then we have the military advantage. So we have all this technology, so it's obviously going to create a military advantage. So I just put military advantage. Okay. So the biggest battle, the first major battle against Africans that shows the power is the Battle of Omdurman. Okay, so it happens in 1898. You should put it next to it. I don't need you to memorize it, but just be aware. It's the first major battle that shows European superiority. It is Omdurman, and it is in the Sudan, and it's against the British. So it's the Sudan versus the British. Okay, the British are going to lose 117 people. You should note that. British lose 117 people. Sudan loses 8,000. 5 hours. So, fair fight? Not a fair fight. So, why do we care about this battle? Put a big star. Gives other countries the confidence that they can beat any African country, which increases imperialism. So after this battle, how are the white people feeling? They're like, yeah, look at this. We took over all this territory. We killed thousands of Africans. We can do this. All right, here we go. To the boards, my darlings, to the boards. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what are the 2 reasons why imperialism begins? Give me the 2 reasons why imperialism begins. Let's go. Good, I got 1, 2, 3. Come on, 3, 4. What is it, Lauren?
Natural resources and markets.
Natural resources and markets. On your whiteboard, what is the first type of imperialism that's being implemented? It's the first type of imperialism implemented. Ashlyn. Military. On your whiteboard, what is it called when a foreign country controls socially, politically, and economically? Good. What do we got? Evan. What is it called when a country is dominated economically? Good. Sophia. Spheres of influence. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what 2 bodies of water does the Suez Canal connect? Good. What do we got? Madison. There you go. Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea. What does this Panama Canal connect? Good. What do we got, Lily? There we go. All right, here we go. So, more technology. What? Huh? Yeah, of course. All right, so more technology you definitely need to know, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, is the telegraph. The telegraph. The telegraph is a big deal because it allows a European country to control its colonies directly. Directly. Okay, for instance, ladies and gentlemen, when the American Revolution, okay, so Thomas Jefferson sat down, wrote the Declaration of Independence, everyone signed it, and then we sent it across the ocean, yes? Takes about 3 months to sail across the ocean. So the letter is sitting on the boat, 3 months. Then King George gets it, reads the letter. Then in 3 months after that, he finally has all of his troops. And then, so we're 6 months in now, and then they sail across the ocean. How long does that take? 3 months. So now we're at 9 months after the Declaration has been signed and things are happening. And now the British are able to now give their response. Effective or not effective? Not effective. However, imagine if there was a telegram. So we send King George a telegram saying, yo bro, we're out. Okay? King George gets it in 5 hours. So, in 5 hours, he can immediately get a bunch of troops together and respond. Okay? So, within a week or two, he can get troops on the move. Now, imagine if you could increase worldwide transportation. That's exactly what the Panama Suez Canal does. So instead of it taking 3 months, it only now takes only about a month and a half to get troops to India now from there. So all of a sudden, everything is faster. So who has more control, the Europeans or the colonies? Europeans. So it is going to strengthen European control. Because every information is going to move significantly faster. You need to write that down. It strengthens European control. It strengthens European control. Alright, perfect. Skip a space, center. India! Here we go. Skip a space, center it. India. Okay, you need to know it's controlled by the British. Okay, so it is controlled by the British. You need to know that the first of the British arrived with the British East India Trade Company. You need to know that. The first British to be in India arrived with the British East India Trade Company. And they had an agreement with the Mughal dynasty. Oh my God, do we remember them? The Mughal. What is the most famous piece of architecture the Mughal did? The Taj Mahal. Okay, so we remember something. Okay, so they're there with the Mughal. They have the approval. When the Mughal Empire ends in 1707, the British just stay. Now, are they empowered? No, they just kind of stay. Okay. Because they stay after the Mughal dynasty dies, they just start slowly assuming more and more power in India. So, are the British all out taking over India at this point? No. They're just slowly taking over power because they're like, there's no one in charge really here. And so the British, of course, as gracious as they are, start taking over. Okay? So, what the British start doing is they start hiring Indian troops to fight for the British. You absolutely need to know this because this is going to cause a big problem here in a second. They hire Indian troops to fight for the British. Why would they want Indians in British suits in India? Why? Ladies and gentlemen, if we were taken over by China today, would we want to see an American or a Chinese guy telling us what to do? We'd want an American. So, why did the British hire Indian troops? Yeah, because the Indians' civilization is going to be more okay with an Indian troop than a white guy telling them what to do. Can we agree? So, they hire these Sepoys. Well, the Sepoys are going to rebel. This is a huge deal. It'll absolutely be on your AP exam. The Sepoys are going to rebel in 1857 against the British. This is a big deal. The Sepoy Rebellion is going to happen in 1857. Okay? They are going to rebel because there is a rumor. You need to know that the guns the British gave them have either pork or beef grease on them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we had manufactured grease, you had to use animal fat to grease your guns. So, like when you used to cook bacon, when you cook bacon at home, you know all that grease that you throw away now? They used to use it for baking and for their gun use. So, like if you had a gun, you used to put animal grease on the guns in order to get the gears to shift. Okay, so there was a rumor that the guns had either beef or pork, which pissed off the Hindus and the Muslims. Well, guess what the two major religions in India are? Hindus and Muslims. So, they are going to fight back from the British for being disrespectful. So they're going to have a mutiny against the British. Guess who wins? The British. Okay, so they have a little bit of a mutiny against the British. Okay? Now, put a big star. This is the big deal. This is the first anti-British movement in India. Is it the last? No, it's not. We're going to have a couple more, and then we're going to get to a guy named Gandhi. Have we heard of Gandhi? Yeah, so the Sepoy Rebellion is a big deal because it is the first anti-British event. Goodbye. And don't worry, there'll be other consequences, of course. Goodbye.